Hi, my name's Penny, and as usual, I'm here to talk about some bookish things. Specifically, today I just wanted to take you through my library hold list. So, this has been a crazy list recently, but currently I've gotten it down to just 10 things. And most of those books are new releases that are coming out soon that I'm really excited about. So, it seemed like a good excuse to talk about both my library, which I love, and books that I'm excited about. So I believe these are listed in the order in which I put the holds on the books. So the first book we have is Defy Me by Tahereh Mafi, which I believe is the 5th book in the series. To be honest, I don't really like this series. I was mostly reading it just so that I would know what Woody Novels was talking about because it is one of her favorite series. However, the series has been released as 2 trilogies, the original one and now the second one, which is being released, and Whitney doesn't seem to like the second series either, and the 4th book, or the first book of the second trilogy, made me really angry. It was so unrealistic. I actually really liked the beginning of the first book. While she was in the mental hospital, I thought it was very lyrical and beautiful and intriguing, but once it got into the X-Men military dystopia part, been much less interested in it. That's all very lucky because this hold has the status of transit overdue. So I think my hold is broken. At some point it said in transit, and then I kind of suspect that they sent it to the Glen Eden Library instead of sending it to the Glenfield Library, and now it's stuck in some kind of limbo state. And because I'm not that excited to read it, and I've got plenty of other books to read, I haven't bothered to chase it up. I'm kind of just waiting to see whether the library has a system for identifying and fixing these kinds of problems. Eventually, if we get to the 2nd of April next year, without it turning up, it will cancel the hold, and then I don't know what the system will do with that. So I may not get to read the book, but at least I get to learn more about how the library hold system works. So the next book on my hold list is Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. So this is another one of those books where there was an original series, in this case a 4-book series, The Raven Cycle, and now Maggie Stiefvater is continuing the series with a new trilogy. I believe it's a trilogy, but I think I might have just made that up. Anyway, a new little series. Well, I absolutely love Maggie Stiefvater's lyrical writing, and I loved the really strange world of the Raven Cycle, and this new series is going to be called the Dreamers series because there is definitely an element of dream magic in this series, which I just really love. And I love the characters. Primarily this is going to be following Ronan and Adam from the original series, and Ronan was my absolute favorite character, so I'm really excited to get more of his story and his family's story. I could have already read some of this book from the samplers that have been released, but I'm waiting because I just want to read the whole book in one go. I believe this book isn't actually going to be released until the 5th of November, so it is still a little while, and then it will take a little bit longer than that for my library to get a copy. I am very tempted to buy my own copy, but since I'm not working this year, I'm probably going to wait a little while. So I am number 2 on the hold list. There are 11 holds in total, so I'm very proud of having gotten that number 2 spot. I would love to get the number 1 spot someday. And it does look like my library has ordered about 5 copies, so I should be in that first wave of deliveries. So the next book on my hold list is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. So this is the 2nd book in the Claim the Stars series. I read Skyward, which is the 1st book at the start of the year, and it's probably still one of my favorite books this year, maybe even my absolute favorite. I'd need to think about that a little bit more to confirm that. This is a series where humans are all trapped on this planet and aliens regularly attack them and keep them trapped and living underground. Our main character Spencer really wants to be a part of the Air Force that goes out and fights the aliens and protects the human colony, but unfortunately her father was branded as a coward after he ran away during a fight, well, flew away. And so she's in kind of a difficult position and they don't really want her to be involved in things. So I really love the story. I thought it was hilarious. My absolute favorite character was the AI Mbot. I just love him, and I just thought Brandon Sanderson did such a great job of setting up this world and the characters and the plot that goes on. Also, in classic Brandon Sanderson style, there was a big reveal at the end, and that kind of changed the way you view a lot of things. So I know that the next book in the series is just going to go up another level, and I can't wait to read it. So this book is also being released on the 5th of November along with Call Down the Hawk, but this one, unfortunately, I'm only number 13 of 26 in the hold list, and it does look like my library has ordered about 7 copies, but I'm not going to be in that first wave, so it might take me a little while before I finally get the book in my hands. Again, this is one I would love to own physically, but I just cannot afford it at the moment. So the next book on my hold list is not a new release, although it was newly released just in July. It is an Avatar: The Last Airbender graphic novel, The Rise of Coyote. So I really love Avatar: The Last Airbender TV show. I haven't yet read any of the comics or graphic novels, although I would like to. And in September there is an Atla readathon, which is all based around Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I really want to participate, but the group book is this book, and I really can't afford to buy a graphic novel because they are so expensive. So I'm hoping that through some miracle I will be able to get this through the library in the month of September so I can read it for the readathon. Seems kind of unlikely though, because I am number 10 on the hold list and my library is still waiting for its ordered copies to arrive, and it's only ordered 4 copies, so it's going to need to arrive quickly and people are going to need to read it very quickly if I'm going to get it by the end of the month. So I'm not that hopeful, but oh well, that's life. So the next book on my hold list is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. So this is the sequel to The Poppy War, which is a Chinese-inspired fantasy novel that was very popular last year. To be honest, I still felt kind of in the middle about The Poppy War. I really loved the beginning, and then I didn't really like where Rin's character went, and I just wanted more from the magic system. But still, I want to continue the series and see where things go. Hopefully it will go in a direction that I find more interesting. This also was just released recently at the beginning of August, so my library does have its copies already, all 6 of them, but still I'm number 9 of 15 on the whole queue. So, and it's a long book, so I expect that it's going to take a little while to make its way to me. Did I say what it was about? Not really. I just said Chinese inspired, and that tells you nothing really. We follow this girl named Rin, who is an orphan and lives pretty much in poverty. She decides to try to get herself admitted to the military school so that she can live a better life. But to get into military school, she has to do some quite hardcore studying and learning. Also, there is this element of god-based magic. So there are different gods, and certain people are able to connect with those gods and through them gain certain powers. And at the same time, there is a war brewing that our main character ends up getting involved in. Everyone always says that this is very brutal and gruesome. I don't really feel that way because I felt like the main character was still quite disconnected from a lot of that. But I can see that some people might find it quite overwhelming, so it is something to be aware of if you're interested in this book. The next book on my hold list is Come Tumbling Down by Shauna Maguire. This is the 5th book in the Wayward Children series, which I have read, and I've also just started a reread in preparation for this book being released in January. Hopefully it won't take me too long to get my hands on in January. My library has only ordered 3 copies, but I am 5 of 6 on the queue, so fingers crossed that means it won't take me too long to get. So the Wayward Children series is about these children who have found different magical doors, like for example Narnia or Wonderland, and then unfortunately they have been spat out of these worlds and now have to live in the boring normal world, and they go to this school or this halfway house where they can be with other people who've had a similar experience and just learn to adapt to normal life. The series has been alternating between one story kind of in present time and then one story which is like a backstory of one of the characters traveling through their door, and I have definitely preferred the stories where they find their door and travel into a strange world. So Come Tumbling Down, I believe, is going to be one set in the current time. So it might not be my favorite, although it is following Jack and Jill, who are my favorite characters. So I don't know, it might be my favorite. I guess we will see what happens when I get to reading it next year. It's a bit of a wait, but we can wait. The next book on my hold list is Five Dark Fates by Kendara Blake. So this book is meant to be released on the 3rd of September, so possibly by the time I actually publish this video, it will have been released. My library has only ordered 3 copies, and I'm number 5 of 10 on the hold list, so hopefully it won't take too long for it to show up, although hopefully it will show up at a time when I actually have time to read it. Isn't that always the problem with holds? Anyway, honestly, that's the only problem I ever really have with library holds, is when they turn up when I've already got a million books to read. Anyway, Five Dark Fates is the 4th book of the 3 Dark Crowns series. That's a lot of numbers, and the titles all have numbers in them and they don't align with the number the book is in the series. It's very confusing, but the series is quite complex as well. At a high level, we have these 3 daughters who live on this island where everyone has these different witch type powers. These 3 sisters are expected when they turn 16 to fight to the death. One of them is a poisoner, one of them is a naturalist, and naturalists have like animal companions, and one of them is an elemental who has elemental magic. They've all been split off into different factions to be raised and haven't seen each other for a long time, and the story is the story of what happens when they start meeting up again and are expected to kill each other. As this is the 4th book, things are in a very different place right now. A lot of crazy stuff has happened, and I'm kind of worried that I don't remember it all, but I'm not sure I quite like this series enough to go back and reread all the books before I pick this up. So hopefully once I get back into it, I'll remember it. I kind of remember that with the 3rd book, that's how it was. I went in not remembering anything, and by the time I'd read the first few chapters, I was back into the swing of things and engaged in what was happening. So I am excited about this series. I like how witchy it is and all the unexpected twists and turns. So I'm excited to get to this book. Probably the next book on this list that I will actually read. So the next book on my hold list is The Girl from the Other Side, which is the 1st volume in a graphic novel series that I keep seeing people bring up. And last time I think I saw Paper Traveler talking about it, and I decided, okay, I really want to read it. I love the dark art style, and I don't really feel like I even know enough to try and tell you about the plot. I think it's this young girl who's being raised by this dark, demon-y type creature. You know I love dark stuff, so it looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm really excited to start the series. And I'm number 1 in the hold list. I'm the only one on the hold list, so I don't think it will be too long before it turns up. Then the next book on my hold list is Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab. This is the 2nd book in the Cassidy Blake series, which is a middle grade series about this girl named Cassidy who has the ability to see ghosts. Also, her parents are like ghost hunters who have this documentary series, and they are traveling to different cities to investigate the ghosts in these different series. And so obviously Cassidy goes with them and encounters real ghosts in each of these cities. I thought the 1st book was a lot of fun, and I'm really interested to see what happens next. Obviously Victoria Schwab is one of my favorite authors, so even though middle grade is not targeted specifically at an old lady like me, I still think I'm going to really enjoy this one. So this is being released on the 30th of November, and I'm number 4 on the hold list, and my library has ordered 6 copies, so I should get it without having to wait too long. I do find it really intriguing to see how many copies of different books my library has ordered. It isn't always the ones that I think are going to be more popular. It's very interesting. So then the last book on my hold list is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. So this is a series that a lot of people are talking about lately. Personally, I supported the Kickstarter for Pierre Ford's web series of Nevernight that she's making, and I chose the perk to get early access, but I actually haven't yet read the books, which seems kind of dumb, but I wanted to support Pierre. I think she's really great and I want to see what she can do. And so far, everything I've seen of the web series she's making seems really great. Nevernight, if you don't know, is about this girl who is learning to be an assassin, but there seems to be a lot more to it, obviously. I'm really looking forward to reading it. I did once a while ago try to read the audiobook. But I found the audiobook a little bit hard to follow. I'm hoping that when I make an attempt with the physical book, I will do a lot better. And hopefully I can read this relatively fast so that it doesn't take me too long to finally get around to watching the web series. Because I know everybody else is going to be watching it, and while I try not to get too swept up in the hype of things, this is something that I don't want to miss out on. So those are the 10 books on my hold list. Do let me know whether you've read them. If you have, do you think I'm going to enjoy them? Or are they books that you are also looking forward to reading soon? Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.